Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining Kathy and myself here on this Raw Talk today, Thursday at 1 p.m. And we really wanted to come to you with some pretty education. Education, believe that knowledge is power, and then when you have that knowledge, to take action on it. So we truly want to be able to bring to you some information that may help you to make a decision that's a better decision for you to really control the health of your families. I'm P.E. Schneider, and I have been in this mission for 6.5 years, educating on the quality or the lack of quality of food that is, given to us here at our local grocery stores. And I come from nonprofit. I was a director of development. I really felt like I thought I was where I was supposed to be, helping people and the community. And I found that what happened was when I shifted 6.5 years ago, I helped a lot more people in this platform. So it's been an honor and a blessing to be here. And I thank you again for joining us in this 10-minute Raw Talk. So there is a food crisis. And before I kind of dive into it, I just want to share, I'm going to share this video with you all because it truly is going to explain everything that I wanted to explain anyway. So if you can watch this video, and I'll be right back.
Back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, tobacco companies said, smoking is good for you. No problem. Trust us. Then in the 60s, they changed their tune and said, well, smoking may not be so good, but it certainly isn't bad.
What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor?
Fast forward to today, and of course we know that smoking cigarettes is bad. In fact, potentially deadly. And many experts fear that a similar health crisis is happening right now with our food supply. Now loaded with so many chemicals and artificial ingredients that it is barely recognizable by our body as food. And the biggest health danger of all isn't listed on any label. It's called glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup. It's in the food we eat, the water we drink, and the ground we walk on. You cannot wash it off, and you cannot cook it out. And buying organic is not always enough. We are being inundated by constant and unavoidable exposure to this toxin. In 2015, the World Health Organization said glyphosate was a probable carcinogen. Then in 2017, the state of California verified glyphosate causes cancer. A cancer-causing herbicide that has been found in 93% of the U.S. population as of 2015, and today may have grown to include 100% of us. The danger is real.
A new report reveals the controversial weed killer glyphosate has been detected in some breakfast cereals, oatmeal, and snack bars, including some of your favorite and most trusted brands. I've also told you to start your day with high-fiber oatmeal to help lower your cholesterol, among its many health benefits. But now the frenzy over a potentially carcinogenic chemical making its way to your favorite foods has everyone asking questions. You may have first heard about glyphosate here on this show, but now the controversy over the potentially dangerous weed killer is reaching a fever pitch. With a new report warning the weed killer is going from farm to table, making headlines and worrying consumers. The Environmental Working Group revealing trace amounts of the weed killer is in food you're buying at the grocery store: cereal, oatmeal, snack bars, granola. The report claims herbicide in these foods could increase cancer risk for children. And moms everywhere are worried about whether the weed killer is affecting their kids' health. Also making headlines, a whopping $289 million in damages was awarded in California. A jury found the company that manufactures glyphosate failed to warn this school groundskeeper diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma of the health risk posed by the weed killer. They are appealing, but that case is just one of 8,000 similar lawsuits. The problem here is that we're really needlessly getting a big additional dose of glyphosate in our breakfast cereal. As you know, a dose we just don't need.
Roundup is linked to several types of cancers, including breast, prostate, and lung cancers. And in a previous study, researchers found that when parents were exposed to Roundup during the 2 years prior to the child's birth, the risk of the child being born with brain cancer is significantly higher. At a national conference held in Argentina, Dr. Medardo Avila Vasquez, a pediatrician specializing in environmental health, explained his concerns. We've gone from a pretty healthy population to one with a high rate of cancer, birth defects, and illnesses seldom seen before. What we have complained about for years was confirmed, and especially what doctors say about the sprayed towns in areas affected by industrial agriculture. Cancer cases are multiplying as never before in areas with massive use of pesticides. In the U.S. as well, pending legal cases against Monsanto have surged, with 8,000 lawsuits now up in the air. Meanwhile, the EWG, who released the report on glyphosate in cereals, is encouraging parents to come forward. As a reminder, these cereals may be found in your kitchen cabinet and include several children's breakfast foods such as Cheerios and Lucky Charms. In a recent statement, they said, "What can parents do? Demand that the food companies provide products that don't have toxic pesticides in them. And when possible, we encourage families to purchase organic products as a safer and healthier choice." And it looks like some daycare centers in Chicago are already being proactive. 9 Chicago area locations stopped serving Cheerios in response to the report. Perhaps this is just the start of the market pulling back on products containing the cancer-causing herbicide. In Washington, Sarah Montes de Oca, RT.
So that information was mind-boggling to me. And that's kind of the problem that I found back in 2013. I don't know if you are like me, where you're watching TV and you see all that kind of stuff, but it's all scare, 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 but there's no solution. Don't tell me the problem unless you have a solution. As a mom, it killed me knowing that I could have been feeding my kids Cheerios all those years, not knowing at all. So don't tell me there's a problem unless you have a solution to back it. And that's what we've got going here. But before we go on to the solution, I want to introduce a really dear, beautiful sister of mine, beautiful woman. She sat on many nonprofit boards, is such a servant leader, servant to our communities, and a powerful, powerful businesswoman herself. And she has sat on many boards. And I want to introduce you first to Kathy Thurston right here. And I will unmute you. And I want to ask Kathy, you know, there's some information that you have where you've sat on these boards, so you know what's going on with Hawaiian homelands, agriculture, things like that. I would love for you to share with everybody what you've seen.
Thank you, PE. It is a bit mind-boggling, you know, and I have to admit, being born and raised here in Hawaii and being an American as well as part Native Hawaiian, we really kind of make certain assumptions. We think that people that are our legislators or governance officials are really making great decisions for us. We kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think if you're anything like me, I would go into grocery stores or Longs or one of those stores and just buy things thinking that if it's in there, somebody's double checked to make sure it's okay, right? And I think unfortunately, as you grow up, you learn, oh my God, it's not okay. And I've had the honor to serve on different boards. And of course, I come from a construction background, so I spent a little over 30 years in construction before I retired. But in that time, I had been asked to serve on boards like Hawaiian Homes and the University Board of Regents, as well as various nonprofits. But what blew me away is, I think, when I found out, you know, I was here busy like most people, just trying to make a living, feed my family, feed my children, and trying to do the right thing. But what I did learn is when I served on some of these boards that, like Hawaiian Homes, for instance, a lot of the land, not lots, but enough acreage what was coming up, I remember was the first time something came across, you know, I guess the desk, so to speak. It was a Molokai commission meeting, and they were asking to be able to lease X amount of acres to be able to do, to use it for their genetically modified crops. And I'll be honest, 20 something years ago, what's that? What do you mean genetically modified? We really weren't paying attention to things like that, or at least I know I wasn't. And asking questions and really having it be so gray, not really knowing and understanding what is this? Well, a couple things. They want to be able to grow their seed corn or products here in Hawaii because we have a 365-day a year growing season here in Hawaii, where unlike the mainland has winter that, you know, it's not suitable for growing. It means that it limits their calendar for crops, where in Hawaii, you can grow 12 months a year. And without completely understanding everything, unfortunately, we do see that a lot of these lands here in Hawaii, Monsanto, I think, has been here in Hawaii for over 50 years. I remember back in the 70s, before I got into construction, I used to be a tour director, and remember having DeKalb corn, you know, seed corn company coming through, and they had all these incentive groups. And who knew they were actually growing seed corn back then? And the seed corn is grown here in Hawaii. Then it's taken to the mainland or different parts where this genetically modified seed is now used and spread everywhere. And that's a whole nother issue, because what happens is you see how this thing grows. And, you know, if you watch it, just a few documentaries on it, you'll see how it shut down lots of industries, even across the country. So is it a real problem? Absolutely. What can we do? Here in Hawaii, we're limited as well. We're the most remote place on planet Earth. We're 2,500 miles away from any other landmass. That being said, and being part Native Hawaiian, it's amazing to learn. In December of 2014, Dr. Sam Ohugun, he's got his PhD, and he did a TED Talks. I really encourage people to go take a look, and if they wanted to go check this. But he shared that at one time, here in Hawaii, we were 100% sustainable. Our population lived or impacted, maybe we had an impact on about 15% of the entire lands here, but 100% sustainable. Roll the tape forward, progress has occurred. We now occupy or impact over 70% of our lands, and we're only 15% sustainable here in the state of Hawaii. That means that we're only about 3 weeks. We have about 3 weeks food supply. After 3 weeks, we're on our own. So why is food supply important? Because we need to be able to take a more proactive stance. I highly encourage getting involved in who are you voting for? Why are you voting for them? Who are our leaders? What's motivating them? Do they have conflicts of interest? Are they getting some little, in construction we used to say dong, are they getting some side tips for approving certain things? And I think as a business owner as well, I'm retired now, but being a job creator and a creator of jobs and working to keep your people, your employees, which become like extended ohana, employed so that they can feed their family. Because when it comes down to it, that's usually most of our whys, right? We got to know what is our why. To take care of our family. I know it was my why. I remember I had a really successful businessman ask me several years back, what's your why, Kathy, when I was first starting my own business in 1997? And I said, it's simple, Dave, to feed my family. I want to be able to provide for my family. I said, what's your why? He said, to have a net worth of 50 million. It's like, hey, we all have different whys. He met his why. The sad part, he was a little older than me. He passed away. So health is wealth. And that's why I kind of use Dave, as successful as he was and such a dear brother. The sad part is health is wealth. I don't care how much money I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of very successful businessmen, men and women in my career, but if you don't have your health, you'd have nothing. Health is wealth. And so I was excited because when I discovered, I have it in my blue bottle, but Purium several years back, I was really blessed. And I use it as an alternative, you know, it's part of my meal replacement, I guess. I still eat and do all the, like my Hawaiian poi and lomi salmon and poke and all those things. But I know that every time I drink my Purium, it's like, my body goes, thank you. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you're speaking such truth here, Kathy, and you're talking, oh my gosh, if you didn't get a chance to really have that sink in, go back and replay on this one. Kathy's speaking really into the sustainability of Hawaii at this moment is at 15%, and that we have 3 weeks of food, and the importance of that bottle that Kathy held up. So there's a lot of things that we're talking about today, the herbicides and pesticide situation, the food storage situation. And so it's interesting that you're saying that, Kathy, because I just ordered about a month's supply of food that has shelf stability, what you have in your green bottle. I'm using it and I'm rotating stock. So I feel very comfortable that me and my family are prepared. But again, no just fear, but we have a solution. And one of the biggest solutions, and I'd love you to come back in a second, Kathy, on the actual your story, is one of the biggest solutions we have is the world's only removal of that glyphosate, that video you just saw. We actually have the world's only removal. Now, there's a lot of people that said, oh, they have something to take out glyphosate. The problem is all the herbs and all the supplements on the market aren't being tested correctly, or take it back. They're being tested, but they're tested to have glyphosate in them. They have glyphosate. So you think you're taking the supplement and you're removing glyphosate, but you're also putting glyphosate back in. So this solution, which was, again, dropped in our lap because we're on a mission to educate and cleanse and nourish. That's the movement. That's the mission. That's who we are as a company. We're given this gift of saying, listen, people need to remove the glyphosate. This is the only product that's tested, validated, clinically tested to remove 74% glyphosate in 6 short weeks. And that inflammation marker that a lot of doctors are telling you got that high, I think it's A1C or something like that, or I can't remember the marker, but it creates this inflammation, bad for the heart, bad for the joints, bad for the body. Inflammation is bad. That marker comes down by 75% in 6 short weeks. So it's a phenomenal solution to this problem we're living in. Kathy is describing, especially in Hawaii, 15% sustainability. You guys, this is not going to happen overnight. So we have to kind of like put our thinking caps on. We got to like make that decision. That might be a hard one, but it's not but it's a simple one, right? So I love how, Kathy, how you mentioned a couple things, but one of the things that I loved what you said was that you just wanted to put food on the table. That was important to you as a mama. That's important to all of us. Did we know it has these problems? No, but now we do. So now we take action. Now we cannot have regret. What happened in the past happened in the past. The good thing is when we know we can remove that glyphosate, let's remove the glyphosate, period. Now, with that said, I want you to come back, if you could, because your story is incredible, on your own personal story of the cleansing and nourishing, what you've discovered personally, and then I'll come back with my story of what I've discovered. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, PE. Well, I'm in my 60s. I think you and I may be the same age, right? Only difference is I dye my hair. There's still vanity here. but yeah, I was going through menopause and I realized that all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. And I had been pretty healthy up till that point in time. And even my husband, Charlie, was like concerned. It's like, oh my gosh, my wife, is she dying? And I remember I'd wake up and go, honey, we're all dying. We're one day closer to dying every day with every passing day. But I realized that part of it was I had, because of the career that I had chosen, construction, which I love, passionate about it, but overran my adrenal system, overloaded it. I developed allergy-based asthma. And I mean, wheezing and unable to breathe. I've never smoked in my life. I actually never even did drugs, even though I was a child of the 50s, and grew up in the 70s, never did it. So it was unusual to have this experience where my lungs could not get adequate oxygen, I felt. And of course, I was grateful. I had a great doctor. He found out, oh yeah, you have allergies to this, dust mites, this, all types of different things, but mainly the dust and the dust mites, cats, standard, different things. He said, all he gave me was this big regimen of all these medical drugs and pharmaceuticals, and I'm quarter Chinese, but I was always like, I don't know about this stuff. You know, I don't like taking drugs. And was just always been a personal choice. Anyway, I find out about Purium, and I start taking it. And when I'm consistent, all of a sudden, it's like, seriously, it's like my body was like, thank you. I was on a call, I remember at that time, this is several years back, where once I started it and was drinking it every day, it's like my asthma cleared up. It's like I can breathe, you know. And so, of course, now roll the tape forward. I know how to better manage myself. If I'm gonna sneak ice cream, or not sneak it, I do it in public, but if I'm gonna have ice cream or things that probably aren't the best choices, but it's a conscious choice for me, you know, I may have to be aware of it. Or if I'm gonna be around a cat, or anyway, you know, those things. But I know what I can do to help me help myself. You know, it's like my body, it's almost like all the different cells in the body go, yay, she's feeding me right. She's taking care of me. And so I encourage it. I think our body's been created to heal itself if we give it the tools and the things that it needs.
So share with us your daily routine now.
Okay, so I do one meal, Purium. So I take my aminos, take my green drink. If I don't have it in the morning first meal, like today, I was like really hungry for some. I had some salmon and some different things, avocado and different things. I'm taking it as a second meal. Take my aminos. I'm still taking my green drink. And then typically at night before I go to bed, I'll take my Biomedic. And on occasion, I'm going to take my apothecary. And I know it's good for me. It's just that when I take it, it knocks me out. I have a hard time getting up in the morning at 6 to go walking with a couple of other sisters or go exercise. So I kind of use that when I'm like, if I know in the morning I'll be able to just knock out, I just take it, and it zings me out. I mean, I have a good sleep.
I love that testimony, because you're speaking into the power of the core four, proteins, fruits, and vegetables, one meal a day. And I love how you spoke, and you still have this amazing result, even though you consciously choose to have the ice cream. And that's a beautiful thing. People don't have to live in a bubble per se. However, eventually the longer you're going to find is that your choices are going to get better consciously, because you might see what the ice cream does to your body. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to feel that way. It wasn't that good, you know, or something. But that relationship that we have with food changes. So with my story, it's the same. The doctors told me I was going to live with arthritis the rest of my life. I believed them for 5 years, walking around with a limp, not working out, became a couch potato because I was so unhappy and sore and borderline depressed. I didn't clinically get diagnosed as that, but in hindsight, I saw how depressed I was with life. I thought I saw the best of it. In comes Purium. Someone introduced me to Purium. By day 3, I had 0 pain. And I got out of bed and I'm jumping up and down trying to find the pain that I was used to, my norm, for 5 years. It was gone. It came back once when I tested it. I went and had something and I'm like, oh, let me see if it'll come back. Sure enough, it came back in like 2 hours. So the relationship with food to my pain was obvious. So the doctors all said, live with arthritis the rest of your life. Sorry, you're wrong. Ex-nay. How about helping people find the food that serves them, the food that God created? It's the seeds and the fruits and the vegetables that came from his earth to feed us. And that green shake, Kathy, that she has in the blue bottle, I love blue, by the way, is all those greens filling her body with micro, macro nutrients. The body's going, help me, thank you. So this is our this is our raw talk for today. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. Please let us know how you feel about it, how you like it. Share with us your story in the comments, and we look forward to helping each and every one of you find true health, like Kathy spoke about. Health is the wealth that we all are striving for. And thank you for joining us. Have a great day.